Good morning. Welcome to the first Fireside Chat of 2024. This is my 28th week, actually, the end of my 28th week here at Horizon House. And yeah, my vision for Horizon House is starting to take shape. I've been slow and pretty intentional about making changes. And for some, I know that's probably comforting, but I bet some people are saying, when is she going to make her mark? So, I really wanted to share how I'm thinking about Horizon House at this period in time, and then we'll go back to the agenda. Over the past 5 years, Horizon House has gone through a tremendous amount of change. Can you believe almost to the day and when we started to hear about COVID, really it was around January of 2020 when we really started hearing about it in Italy, well, in Europe. 4 years ago. Seems like a long time, but even before that, we started experiencing change with the departure of Sarah McVeigh and then Mike Ostrom becoming CEO. Then we had the pandemic, then the announcement of the West Tower expansion, me as new CEO, and a host of other things in between. So we've been through a tremendous amount of change. So it's my hope that in 2024 we'll have a period, of calm. This during this during this time period, we're going to be really fortifying Horizon House. We're going to be watering our roots, really thinking about our history, our past, what our founders' intentions were, and learning and appreciating our past. Then we're going to also in 2024 be strengthening our core. When there's a lot of change, the core can become a little unstable. So it's going to be a really important time for us to pay attention, to our values. We're going to be putting them into action every day. Making sure that all of our stakeholders and the community and prospective residents really understand who we are. They know our brand. They know who we are, but do they really understand who we are? Do they know what we're about? We want to spend some time really strengthening that core. And then we're going to be tightening up our operations. That's important. We want to make sure that we are all being good stewards and that every one of our staff members are performing, at the top of their ability so that they bring the best to you, our whole reason for being here each day. We want to make sure that we are focused on being accountable not only to you, but to each other. That's going to be a very important part of the way in which we work. And then at the top, we really want to invest in the culture of Horizon House. We want to make sure that it carries through to the future. We cannot take that for granted. We've had a very strong culture for over 60 years, but now it's time that we really have to invest in it and pay attention to it. And we want to do this so that the future of our organization, we can continue to blossom and thrive. One of the ways in which we're doing that, we are making sure that every new employee that comes into Horizon House really gets the education on our culture during their onboarding, and that we are attracting residents who will appreciate and contribute and add value to the culture. So I just wanted to share with you how we are thinking about 2024. I'm really excited, and it's going to be a great year. So I want to go back to our agenda for today. As you can see, we've got a full agenda. It's kind of our usual, but we have some really exciting news. We've got Infinity Rehab that's going to be doing some updates. We're going to, of course, have our things that we always enjoy, our staff introductions and new resident introductions. I'm excited that Deborah's here. I'm going to be talking about wellness updates. Eli is going to give us master planning in West Tower, and then Joan's going to come and talk about communications. We always love to hear about philanthropy. And then I'll finish this up with bright spots. But I'm going to turn it over to Celerina to do our staff introductions.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see all of your faces. Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now? Is that better? Oh, so lovely to see your faces today. Happy Friday. Hope you guys have some fun plans for the weekend. All right. Looks like I did something incorrectly here. Let's get to that. All right. So starting off with our new hires, we have Anthony Lee, who will be coming to us as an elder care assistant in assisted living. And then I don't know if you guys have seen him yet, but we have a new project coordinator for renovations. And we're happy to have him to be a part of Horizon House and the renovations team. Eric, if you haven't seen him, if you see him around the building, give him a big wave and tell him welcome. Also, you might want to help him point out some directions because he's still getting lost. But we all do, all right? It's easy to get lost in here, right? And then we have some new staff members for food services. Really excited. So we have Jervin, who's coming to us as a server. Miss Casey Ann, she's been helping us in the kitchen, but she also is helping at the action station. So you might see her there. So when you're going for lunch, give her a hello, tell her welcome. And when you see Jervin in the terrace dining room, you tell him welcome as well. And then Wong, I'm so excited. He just came to us on Tuesday. So Wong is one of our new dishwashers, and we're so happy to have him. I'm also trying to get his wife to come work here as well. So cross our fingers, we might have another married couple working under us. And then this I'm excited about. Miss Summer, can I have you to stand and wave? Everyone, this is Summer. Summer is one of Parkview Salon's new stylists. So I'll tell you all, she's here every Wednesday. All right? And so, my lovely residents, if you're looking for someone on Wednesdays to do your hair, to give you a cut, a trim, maybe you want color, whatever your services may be, Summer comes to us at Horizon House with over 20 years of experience. And so I know she'll take really good care of you. And so her books are open now. And if you do book a service with her, you could potentially win a gift set of Mario Pedescu skincare products, and it's valued over $50. So get in with Summer. Go see her in the Parkview Salon. You can also, if she's not here outside of Wednesdays, you can talk to Lisa to get on her books as well. And then I have a couple of milestones that I just want to make aware of to you guys. We have our employees who have provided hard work and dedication over the years, and I am excited to announce that we have August from the loading dock who is celebrating 5 years with us. August started in the garage, and 2 years ago he went to purchasing, and so we're happy to still have him giving us great assistance at the loading dock. And Miss Demetria, she is a cook in food services. She too has been here for 5 years. You may remember her daughters that used to work here. She had Janine, that was her daughter. And then we had Ishuet. She doesn't work here anymore, but she was a server. Both ladies were her daughters, but we still have her here, giving us the hard work and dedication, and we appreciate her for that. And then John Roberts. He is celebrating 10 years. As you all know, John Roberts is one of our project managers here. He's probably helped you on some renovations in your apartment. You've probably talked to him about some designs. And so if you see John, tell him congratulations for his service. And now I will bring up Andrew Harris, our Director of Sales, to go ahead and introduce the new residents.
Good morning, everybody. Let's see if we can, I got a 50-50 shot here. We're going to go to the, hey, look at that. I would like to first introduce Mary Koch. She joined us in November of this past year. Born in Minneapolis, she has lived all across Washington State, a graduate of UPS with a major in music and from the University of Washington in communications. She professionally was a journalist and a communications consultant. She enjoys music, nonviolent communication, is a member of the Washington Newspaper Publishers Association and the American Healthcare Journalists Association. Welcome, Mary. Are you here today, Mary? Where's Mary? There's Mary. Let's give Mary a welcome. We're doing the Marys today. Next, we have Mary Richardson, who also joined us in November. Yeah, there you are. Hi. Born in Bend, Oregon, and has lived in California, Oklahoma, and Washington. A PhD in psychology, I understand, and professionally a professor at the University of Washington. She enjoys theater, symphony, gardening, and reading. Welcome, Mary. And I'm also pleased to introduce Andrea Sledge. Andrea joined us in December of this past year. Born in Chicago, she's lived internationally, as well as California, Arizona, New York, and here in Washington. She received her bachelor's and master's and PhD. Professionally, she's been a teacher, a university faculty member, legal assistant, a member of the Ellensburg Library Board. She has sat on various environmental committees and the League of Women Voters. She also works with the KC Democrats. Interests include reading, concerts, politics, and environmental justice. Andrea, are you here today? There she is. Welcome to Horizon House, Andrea. Okay, I'm going to introduce Deborah, and she's going to talk to us about our wellness updates. Nope, I'm going to introduce the other Andrew, and he's going to talk to us about wellness updates.
I thought I looked like Deborah. Is it the hair? Maybe it's the hair.
It's a good haircut.
Thank you. Yeah, you too. Yes, yes. Okay, first, before I need to, which one of these is it? Go this way? Oh. Okay, so it was going to be Deborah. I did not think I was going to be here today. Through Erica, Lori, and Christy, I've been a part of a leadership institute. You probably heard me talk about that a little bit. So I didn't think I was going to be here today, but I am. So you're stuck with me. Sorry, Deborah's face is probably a little bit nicer than mine. But I will go through some quick wellness updates. So just a quick overview. I'll talk about some new classes coming. I'll talk about some of the scheduled changes within those classes. I'll also talk about the fitness assessments, if we remember those, along with the fall risk survey that we did about a year ago. So, first thing, one of the new classes I'm starting in March is the Dividat Balance class. If you guys have been down to the gym, you've probably seen that weird balance machine called the Dividat Senso machine and either been very scared of it or very confused by it. I am going to involve it in a class. I'm going to have about 8 to 10 people. I haven't decided on the exact number. And we're going to go through a pilot class of involving that balance apparatus to help with our overall balance and fall risk. So, signups for it will begin in February 16th. As we get closer to that date, you'll see more announcements within the alert, the running slides, and all of the posters around campus. But it's something I'm looking really, really forward to trying. And even more so, with the technology, I'm really able to track our data as we keep going. So it'll be really cool to see, as you feel your improvement, are we also tracking that improvement in the system itself? So I'm really excited for that. So if you want to sign up, I'm going to guess it's going to be something that a lot of people want to sign up for. So just be ready for that, okay? Because we're only going to do 10. But if it goes well, I'm going to continue to keep doing it. The other class, thank goodness. So the other class we were going to do was Deborah's Creating Healthy Habits class. That was going to start right in February. That class has not had as much excitement And Deborah wasn't completely sold on what she wanted to do yet, so we're going to move it into the fall. Okay? So that class is going to move into the fall, and there's going to be a lot more information and data about that as we get closer to that date. So other things, though, it is the new year. With the new year comes a new wellness class schedule. That is out. I'm sure you have seen it, both in the mailroom upstairs, downstairs outside the wellness center, on HH Connect as well. So if you want your own copy, you can either get it from HH Connect, or we have copies for you down at the wellness center. If you walk right into the gym, it's the cubby's right on your right-hand side. So easy to miss. So if you do get confused, you can come just find me. Along with that, I'm sure you've noticed there's a new time for the chair cardio. So if that's something you really want to do, I would definitely show up to it, and you can find that again on the class schedule. And then Deborah is going to do a new round of her Bold and Strong class that everybody loves. She's doing that, I have to look, from February 25th to June 6th. So even if you've done Bold and Strong again and you just kind of want a refresher, you can sign up for that again. Or if you haven't done Bold and Strong, it really starts from the chair up. So we really start seated, and as we progress through the weeks, you start standing more and getting more into that overall strength. And then finally, Brian is going to do a new Tai Chi Quan movement for better balance in the spring. He just finished his latest course, and so we're going to wait a little bit and then throw another one in the spring. Along with that was my update. So in the fall, again, Deborah's class will come out, and we'll have some new class changes around then. And then if you haven't looked in this last September, you've probably seen it, more November to be honest, we started all new HHTV class showings. So if you haven't, not only are they on the alert so you can see what exact classes are on the alert, but you can also just turn on the TV and watch the classes. The final couple things, I'll try to go quick here. Fitness assessments. If you remember fitness assessments, we did it last year. That was when we looked at your overall physical fitness levels. We were able to compare it to people of your age and gender and let you know how you're doing, if that's really great, if that's maybe not so well in some areas, and it gives both us and you areas that we can focus on and improve or keep going well. So we're going to do that again February 29th. February 29th. We're also going to add in Berg balance testing. Berg balance really just goes through how well can we balance. So we're going to marry those two tests together to really give us an overall range of how we're doing physically. So with that, again, it gives us and you a great area of where to focus on your fitness needs, but also it's a great way for us to continue to track how are we doing as a community, and you to track how you're doing individually. If you did it last year, you can look at how you did it this year and compare the two, which is awesome. Signups will go out the 12th of February. With that being said, you don't have to sign up, so you just can show up if you want to. I highly encourage it so I can know kind of the busy times of the day. But again, if you just want to show up, please show up. The more, the merrier. And then finally, the fall risk survey. If you remember, we had the Master Occupational Therapy students from the UW. They created this huge fall risk survey that looked at a plethora of different things around holistic health and fall risk. And we did that survey, I think, in May of 2023. We want to redo that survey so we can kind of see how we've progressed as well. So it's just another tool that we can utilize and look to see how are we progressing as a community. Are there things that I can be doing, the community at large can be doing to helping you guys lower your risk of falling and heighten your overall wellness? So that's the whole point of that. So be ready for that to come out probably February 29th or 26th. That is it for me. Next, I think, is Lori.
Good morning. I have Divya up here with me, so I want to open it up with just a couple of comments about Infinity Rehab. I feel badly sharing this as Erica was just sharing that it's going to be a calm year. But there is change. As you would have seen in the memo I sent out recently, unfortunately, after 13 years, Infinity Rehab has to end their partnership with us and 22 other outpatient locations. We are one of 29 that has to end a relationship with Infinity Rehab because of decreased Medicare reimbursement for outpatient therapy services and increased labor cost. As a therapist myself, it is just disheartening to see these reimbursement changes, especially as there's so much focus on home and community-based services. People want to be in their homes and have the option for therapies on an outpatient basis. The terrific news right on the heels of that is we are going to keep Divya here. Yes. I share your excitement. So Divya is going to come up and share more details on that.
So good morning to all of you guys. My name is Divya Malar. My name is Divya Malar, and I'm the physical therapist and clinic director of Infinity Rehab. Infinity Rehab is the company that provided physical therapy, speech, and occupational therapy to the Horizon House residents. We've been in partnership with Horizon House for 13 long years. And in these 13 years, 6 years, I've been the clinic director of Horizon House and provided the residents with physical therapy services. I am sad and disappointed that Infinity Rehab has to move, and the reason being it is shutting down 22 clinics, all of Nebraska, Utah, and Washington, because of the reimbursement rates. It was not exciting to hear that news at all, but I had to share it with Lori, who then shared it with you guys. Our last date here with Infinity Rehab is February 2nd, which is next Friday. My goal and my team's goal is to discharge all the active physical therapy patients who are on our schedule. A very important question to know what happens to them after the discharge. So the transition aspect is the first one. I would recommend if resident needed continued services, they could call their primary care physician and see if they had options of outpatient therapy closer to Horizon House. The closest is Virginia Mason, which has an outpatient clinic. So you could call them and schedule your PT appointments there. Anyone who's going through surgery or who's getting discharged from skilled nursing home can be eligible for what is called as home health physical therapy. What that means is that the physical therapist comes to Horizon House if you guys are eligible for that, and you get physical therapy services for a month or so. So that would be your second option. Now, just like how Erica said, the core needs to be strong, and I just made up this name called hardcore physical therapy. It was right now, Erica, I just made it up, right? Okay. I got a lot of lemons in the beginning of Jan with my company shutting down. So here I decided to make some lemonade, right? Thanks to Lori support and the executive committee support, I've started to make my solo practice. I've registered it in the state of Washington, and it is called Hardcore Physical Therapy, PLC. I just made it up, but hey, it goes with the theme, right? I had many residents call me to say, why don't you start Feb 1st, or the week after I leave Infinity Rehab? I wish I could. Horizon House has been my work family, and I love working here, and I would love to start it right away, but Medicare doesn't think so. After working with Medicare for 18 years, I've been a physical therapist for 18 years, when I start a solo practice, I need to still reapply. I have to work on my business license. I have to make it right so that when I come treat you guys, it won't be a big transition for you guys. It will be still insurance based. You give me your insurance, I use your insurance and provide physical therapy services. But for that, I need some time, and I don't want to hurry on that. And hence, I am working on all that process. I assume it would take 3 months, but if it happens any sooner, you will see me again to provide you that tough love that I've always been here for. So my estimate is my start date would be May 2024. And what I'm going to do is, as I progress through my application, I will be keeping Lori Warfield informed. And she would give you the information of any updates through alert. My goal also is to attend, hopefully, the March Fireside Chat. So at that time, I could get any sign up for residents who are interested for physical therapy session. Now, I know you guys are active and you don't want to see me, but just in case, right? I also would take this opportunity to thank you guys for the lovely phone calls, a lot of emails that you guys sent to my manager to say if there was anything you guys could do to prevent this shutdown. It's a company decision. I can't do anything different. But what I would ask is to keep me in your prayers and provide me support. And I think that lemonade could change into margarita when I start in May. Thank you.
Divya, can you say application speech?
Sorry? So I also wanted to mention that when I start my practice in May, I'm sure there are residents who would be also wanting to have speech and occupational therapy sessions. Now, the one thing I could do is I do have friends who have their own solo practices, so I could let them know if there is need for those services. And once I hear that, they could always come and provide you with services for speech and occupational therapy. My clinic as such won't provide that directly because I'm licensed as a physical therapist and not licensed as a counselor, but I do that too. But for speech and occupational therapy, just, once I see the need of it, I can definitely let my coworkers know, and they would be happy to stop by and provide those services as needed. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Divya. As an occupational therapist myself, I had to make sure those services are covered too. Thanks again, Divya. Just for a few other quick updates, just want to reiterate, of course, as you all know, Erica Campbell departed at the end of December to get closer to her roots as a mental health therapist. So she is back to providing mental health services to underserved communities and is also leading the dementia programs at Greenwood Senior Center. We keep in contact, and Erica will no doubt continue to furnish us with great resources around dementia care. Anytime we have attrition, we always push the pause button and take an opportunity to reevaluate the bigger picture, understand what are the needs going forward, what are the current resources we have, do we have the right people doing the right things, where might there be duplication or overlap, and then moving forward, we will determine how to best resource any gaps, if there are any identified. Sometimes that results in bringing another new team member on board, and we will determine what is that best skill set to move forward. And in some cases with attrition, we learn that we don't need to add another team member, and we work with the existing resources as we work through the process of understanding where do we best leverage. So we have not arrived to what that means yet. In the meantime, until we do that very thoughtful process that is underway, I am that interim person. I'm already working closely with some residents and family members on much needed support for some long-term residents. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me for any support that you might have in this interim until we develop future plans. And on the emergency nurse calls, I announced at the early December Fireside Chat that we were going to be continuing that important support for the community and our nurses providing 24/7 support as they always have. However, as I shared at the early December Fireside Chat, we've seen a real huge surge in a lot of non-emergency nurse calls that are pulling our nursing resources. So we do have a number of types of calls that do not incur any fee. And just a reminder, those calls that nurses respond to that will not incur any charge is if the nurse determines 911 is needed, and whether or not you end up going out, there is no charge for that. We have some calls where the nurse determines it's not a 911 life and death situation, but you should go to urgent care. That would not be a fee. A nurse responding to someone who has fallen, there's no fee. If we have a security or nurse who is summoned to check in an activity report, or in other words, when there's been no detected movement in your apartment in a period of hours, we do send nursing or security to do a check. Most of the time, it's an apartment is empty. So a reminder, if you are going to be away from the community, to please let reception know so we don't have to deploy resources unnecessarily. And of course, we do have some false alarms, and there's no fee for that. All others, there is going to be, as shared in December and in the alert, a $50 fee because we are using resources of nurses to help with things like toilet transfers, getting in and out of bed, sometimes COVID test, and so those types do require some fees. And just out of, you may be interested to know for January, because we do track how many nurse calls there are for what reasons, so we can offer support, any follow-up that may be needed. For January alone, we have had 30 nurse calls. 40 nurse calls. 14 of those nurse calls incurred a $50 fee. Of those 14, one resident had 6 calls. And this is a resident who's been in long-term decline, and I am actively working with that resident now and family members on a plan for some much needed overdue support. So just to give you a perspective, there's very few that are incurring the charge, but when necessary, it is necessary. And the other update, not on the slide, I want to let you know, Andrew Hill is working on next steps for a blood pressure machine. Yes, so for those of you who may not be familiar with the history, the blood pressure machine was a carryover, quite old machine, I might say, from the clinic that closed 2 years ago. We decided to go ahead and just keep it and make it available for the community. I will tell you, this is not common in senior living communities for a blood pressure machine to be available to independent residents. However, after it broke, it really did break, we just sat on it for a little bit to understand, because it's not being monitored. And so Andrew and I didn't have a sense of what is the true utilization of that machine. And we've gotten some feedback that there are residents requesting to have a blood pressure machine back for the community. So while it is not customary, what Andrew is going to do is to submit for an enrichment grant on behalf of you as residents for a new blood pressure machine. For that to withstand wear and tear in use and to be self-calibrated, so we don't keep pulling resources to calibrate it, they're several $1,000s, so they're not inexpensive. So to get a good quality one, we will apply for the upcoming enrichment grant and certainly determine, based on what type of machine, if it will go in the same area it was or if we need to identify another spot. So stay tuned. There are a lot of blood pressure machines available on the market because many people in their own homes have blood pressure machines. So in the interim, my recommendation is, if you are under a provider's care for checking your blood pressure, to call your provider's office to understand what recommendations they have in terms of whether you need to procure your own. I did speak to one resident who does have their own, but liked to use the community blood pressure machine to double check and make sure their in-home one was calibrated. So I know that some of you use that backup machine for that purpose as well. So stay tuned, one will be coming. And last, just a reminder, if you haven't already, please take advantage of still some remaining free COVID test kits by the federal government. There is a link on HH Connect with the link for that, so please order more, 4 more per household. I just placed an order for a resident today. And some of those test kits are coming with expired dates. So be sure, because many have extended expiration dates. Please check HH Connect on the link so you can see when the new expiration date is. It will be out into the future. My recommendation, as I do for my own test kits and with donated test kits some of you have gifted us, is take a Sharpie and put the new expired date. I have not seen any get extended a second time, so typically they are coming with just one extension. And I want to remind everyone as well that we are still in that peak season. If you are paying attention to the media and the news, they're talking about the second big surge. There's yet another new variant. I've even stopped just announcing what the new variant is because there's a new one, it seems, every week. But we are still in the high peak season of COVID, of RSV potential, influenza, common cold. So hand hygiene, I can't emphasize enough, is so important. We have not returned, even though we had some recent increase in cases. We're down to 4 as of today. Great news there. We're going to continue seeing cases. And so we are not returning unless the county were to direct us to do so. We're not planning to implement a mandatory mask mandate. So this is, again, your personal choice as to whether you feel for your own health risk it's important to have a mask. Some of you are wearing them when you're coming together in an enclosed space, larger gathering. It's a personal decision. I'm up to date with all of my vaccines. I'm just choosing to wear it because I don't really want to get sick and miss work or infect my family. So it's a personal choice. I've had some say we've had more cases, shouldn't there be a mask mandate? And we're not planning to go there because this is unfortunately a part of life. And we want to make sure we can continue activities and dining as much as possible. So when you do learn of an exposure, please take the precautions that I share with you in terms of masking and testing so that we can get any transmission contained and not have to move towards any kind of closures. And that is all I have. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to bring up Eli. Have a great weekend. Eli's taking his sweet time.
Thank you, Lori. Good morning, everybody. So let's see, what are we talking about today? Master planning. All right, so first I want to acknowledge some completion of some existing projects that are nearing completion. The Central Tower and East Tower corridors. This has been a project that's been underway for a long time. We started construction about a year ago, and I'm happy to say that we're on time and under budget. So this is a great example of success. You see the before picture is the one on the left, and then what the corridors are looking like now on the right. And yeah, it's just a lot. Now, I think recently there has been, so for the longest time since the beginning of the completion of like the 17th and the 18th floor, you know, residents are, those lights are just too bright. Well, it took a while for us to finally get the lighting, the dimmer controls. They have now been installed. And now, of course, the complaints are it's too dim. So we're working on it. We're going to find that nice balance between too bright, just right. I do want to say that due to the lighting, the dimming capabilities, like Sean McMahon, our chief engineer, has estimated that alone is saving us the amount of electricity for an entire Central Tower floor's worth of apartments. The amount of electrical use over the course of a year is how much is being saved with the dimming functionality. So it's an important feature, and we're just kind of dialing it in to make it comfortable for everybody. Let's see. Recently, we finished the promenade. I'm happy to receive so many great compliments on it, that how it matches our new Anderson Hall. So that's great. The reason why there's such a space on the left is because I was hoping to include the picture of my staff, Lauren Charbonneau. Lauren, not only has she been assisting in the Central Tower and East Tower project, but she also really helped manage this project as well. And so whenever, if you happen to see her, just tell her she's doing a great job. She is, right. She is doing a great job. Let's see. So upcoming projects, we have assisted living amenity spaces that's coming up. We're working with residents and spouses to, to kind of tweak some final details on the design. There's upcoming meetings also with more residents, but we hope to start the construction of this as early as March. So this will be, this is long overdue. Let's see, we also have some future projects coming up. People know that the executive row will be moving up to the second floor. We also have the new bistro project, and which I'm being told that maybe we should not call it the bistro, because that implies it's going to be exactly the same bistro that we have, just more space. And instead, let's perhaps think of new names for it. So Lauren Charbonneau, she may create a ballot where we decide on, well, what is the appropriate name for this new food service venue? That's not expected to begin until 2025, so there's lots of opportunities to work on the design and get it right. Terrace dining room will also experience a refresh that's expected to occur around 2026. And then we also have lobby and package room redesign that is not expected to finish. The design itself is not expected to finish until late 2025. Also, just know that over there in the terrace, the Terry entrance corridor, that's where we have all of our posters for these master planning projects and West Tower project. Feel free to take time to take a look at it. If you have any comments or suggestions, questions, feel free to use the comment box. And you can also contact Lauren Charbonneau or myself directly. We have lots of visual aids, for instance, if you want to understand it a little bit better. That's always available. And lastly, a resident caught wind that Seattle is implementing a new building emissions performance standard and wanted to know, well, how does that affect Horizon House? The three questions: how does it affect the West Tower design, if at all, for instance? And the important thing is that we always designed the West Tower to be sustainable and very energy energy efficient. Thank you, Bill Roach. So it really doesn't affect our design at all. But in order to prepare for the West Tower, there's a couple of systems, heating systems that serve the Central Tower that are located, part of the system itself is located on the West Tower side of the seismic joint. And so in preparing for the West Tower, we need to move that equipment over, to the better side of the seismic joint. And since we're touching it, we need to kind of bring it up to code, and this is an example of that standard. So we're removing it from either gas power or from Seattle Steam, which is also fueled by gas. And we're going to ensure that it's all electrified. So that's a small example of how this code affects us. And then how much might those modifications cost? There are some incentives and grants that we'll look into to help pay for that. And that's it for me. And next is Joan Hudson.
Hi, everybody. So I want y'all to think back to grade school, way back to grade school. Who remembers show and tell? Everybody remember show and tell? It's like you'd go up to the front of the room. Well, I bought my ant farm today. I think ants are really cool. Today for show and tell, I'm going to share my flower shapes made out of pipe cleaners. You know, so today, sort of a communications show and tell. You know, and what the show and tell today will be about, first of all, is highlighting Horizon House residents. So I'm going to be showing some things and telling you about some things. So social media helps us to share what Horizon House is like, whether serious or fun or both, not only for our internal community, but for our external community. I'd like to show a brief little video. I'm not sure how well it will play, or how you'll be able, if you'll be able to hear it well, but I've included some subtitles. So, little story. Our communications, or our media specialist for the communications department, Adrian Rosado, wanted to shoot some film of the salon. So she talked with our wonderful Han, one of the stylists, and arranged to have a resident being videoed with their hair being cut. Great, okay. Well, got all settled in, Han began the haircut, and to Adrian's surprise, the resident began to talk. So, here she is, unscripted, unrehearsed, the big screen debut of Susie Pino. Okay, where's my little doohickey? Where's my little, no, stop. No, stop. I don't have a stopper. Risa, is there, huh? Okay.
Having more fun now than I ever had.
That's awesome. Can we turn it up?
Daughters are very happy and pleased. They don't need to worry. That I'm basically on vacation every day with some dozens of people that I've grown to love. And I walk around laughing and happy. Don't ask me why. I'm really happy here.
Okay, and it stops. Sorry. I'm sorry that wasn't louder, but I think you got the point. Thank you, Susie, for being the willing person to be in the video. And I really appreciate your words about what Horizon House means to you. I think it's a real positive way to start off 2024. Huh?
And your hair is beautiful.
Yeah, it looks great, Susie. And I want, oh, sorry. And my voice is so loud, but okay. And I want to thank Adrian also for her always creative work. You know, social media, it's not really known, but it's very time consuming and hard to do well. So she's done a great job. Okay, I want to share the next slide. There's no more video, so it should be okay. All right, so Horizon House has a yearly publication. In past years, it's been called the Lookbook. It's been called the Annual Report. Well, you know what? I think that Horizon House is such a rich environment that it seemed appropriate that we have a magazine to reflect that. And so, ta-da, I'm giving it a name, The Outlook, the Horizon House magazine. So it's a magazine with lots of features, but it contains annual report information. So that is honoring donors and then sharing financial information from both the Horizon House business and philanthropy financial information. So that stays, okay? But it can be an important showcase. We want to show people internally, because it's a reflection, and externally, it's a showcase to describe and share what Horizon House is like. So for this issue for 2020, it's actually encompasses 2022 and 2023. The topic is We're Engaged. Resident interests create a dynamic community. And that's what this issue is focusing on. It highlights several resident committees with articles about those committees. And it also highlights a few Horizon House residents with their stories. So this gets shared broadly. It gets mailed out to our future resident list with 400 people on it, and it's shared. Grab a copy. You can share it with your family, friends, and it's just an important showcase to highlight us. So later on, there will be issues in the mailroom. So I hope you take one. I don't have 500 copies. So if you're not interested, don't read one. If you read one and think you want to return it, go ahead and return it. But there's quite a few. So grab one and see what it's all about. Just want to explain about the year, okay? So on the cover, it says Annual Report 2022. We're in 2024. What's up? So what you need to know about financials is when a year ends, I don't get financials until much later on, like in May, okay? So this annual report magazine would come out in summer, okay? But I got project-itis, and I had to put it aside to work on another big thing. So it's coming out now for how many months late. But the information is all good. So if you hear somebody, they made a mistake. It's not a mistake. It's 2022 financial figures. Okay. Clear? Clear as mud? Okay. Now, this is quite a project, and it doesn't come together without a lot of help. So I'd like to thank folks who, I subjected to interviews, who clarified things for me, who provided information for me, and who approved articles. So I'd like to thank Bill Anderson, Marianne Anderson, Bob Brannigan, Danny Carr, Jan Corriston, Kieran Fern, Nancy Federici, Shirley Colas, John Pound, Doris Ray, Bill Roach, and on the staff, Lauren Charbonneau, Ruth Ann Ford, Andrew Hill, Charlene Hutchison, Eli Lemansky, Christine Seymour, Marjan Swan, and Erica Thrash-Saul. And so this is what you're looking for in the mailroom later on today. All right, moving right along. Okay, helping Horizon House residents. Again, this is a show and tell, and we'll go through this fairly quickly. We like to help in our communications way. Here's something new. We're introducing a newsletter, Communications Corner. And its purpose is to help you navigate the digital world. It'll come monthly via email. It's just an online publication, okay? It's not required in reading at all. It's voluntary. So if you don't want to read it, don't read it. It's voluntary. It will contain helpful hints, reminders, recommendations, and occasional features, okay? It won't include information you already get through established channels. So don't worry about missing something if you don't read it. It's an FYI for you if you want to learn a little more. It might not be useful for some people because they already know it. It might be useful for others. And the first issue will come early February. So watch out for Communications Corner. And then last, because we strive to be timely, accurate, and consistent, this is a big effort every year. You'll be pleased to know probably what you've been waiting for, just hot off the presses today, the Horizon House January 2024 directory. It will be in your cubbies when you leave this meeting. It's a big project, and it's handled by Emily Wallace. It's a 2-month process. There are many, many updates to the tune of around 80 or so. New email addresses, new cell numbers, nicknames, internal moves, departed and new residents, as well as ongoing improvements to the publication. Streamlining, this year Emily reduced it by 8 pages. She makes continual layout tweaks, and she standardizes updates cross-platform. Like she has to make sure HH Connect matches the directory, among other things. So it's a big job, and I just want to say thank you to Emily for doing such a great job on that. 2 quick little notes before I introduce our wonderful philanthropy people, Charlene and Ruth Ann, on new residents. We all are, especially when you get up here, like I know I've mangled my share of names and not got them right, but for Ms. Sledge, one of our new residents, I believe you pronounce her name Andrea. Is that correct? It's Andrea, not Andrea. That name has a lot of pronunciation, so it's Andrea. And I would just like to point out that Mary Koch is a writer, and she has a wonderful blog about aging, which you might want to check out. I don't remember the name offhand, but introduce yourself to Mary, and she'll tell you. So she's right there. So thank you very much, Charlene and Ruth Ann.
Good morning. I am Charlene Hutchinson, and I work with my colleague Ruth Ann Ford here in the philanthropy office. So real quick, I just want to share our results of last year, 2023. We earned or raised $520,000 for the Partners in Caring Endowment, and that exceeded our $460,000 goal. A big thank you to this community of residents, families, friends, staff, and businesses who all helped to get to this amount. Resident participation always stays at about 80%, and we feel good about that. We do continually message that any amount at any level that you're comfortable donating at is welcome. Thank you again. Now from our, let's see, we call it our estate planning category, if you will. And with that, we received $217,000 from 3 residents that left an estate plan for Horizon House. And last year also, we received 8 notifications that 8 residents chose to select Horizon House in their estate plans. So we thank everyone for that. Let's see, so totaling for endowment, we received over $700,000 for 2023. Now for the usage of the earnings from the endowment, which the earnings were about $1 million, we allocated $480,000 to 6 residents. Staff scholarships, $82,000, and that was for 15 staff members and 13 of their dependents. In enrichment grants, we awarded $39,000 for 15 grants. Just as a reminder, we allocate up to $50,000 in grants in 2 sessions, in a spring and in a fall session. Oh, yes, and I'd like to also say the amount for the staff scholarships, $82,000, doubled from what we did last year. So we're really happy about that. And now here's Ruth Ann Ford to share some information about upcoming events.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to be here. Okay. We just wanted to share about a very important resource for the endowment, estate giving. We'll focus on this next month in February. The endowment earnings fund our philanthropy programs. And as you saw from Charlene, the figures she just shared, your donations really make such a difference here at Horizon House. We like to say that an endowment is like a flowing fountain because legacy gifts continue to provide a financial resource for years to come. When you make an estate gift, you become a member of the Heritage Society, and there are currently 109 members of the Heritage Society, which is terrific. We will be sharing more next month, and please let us know if you have any questions. I will now introduce Erica.
All right, we are in the home stretch. So I want to give a few announcements. We have our annual board meeting coming up with residents. It's going to be Monday, February 5th from 4 to 5 in Anderson Hall. And then we're going to have a reception to follow in the Fireside Lounge. And during this time, we're going to have an unveiling of the new model that shows our campus with the West Tower. So we hope that you all come. We have our small group sessions. That means this is the first one of the quarter, which is going to be exciting on Monday, February 12th in the morning, and then Thursday, February 15th. And so the dates are posted in the mail room. They'll be in the alert. As you know, these are limited in terms of how many people can attend. And so please RSVP with Beth and submit your agenda topics. We've got some exciting events going on in assisted living. I don't know how many of you heard yesterday. I was in a all-day, well, not in this room all day, but I was in all-day meetings. But I was so pleasantly lured by a piano player playing all of the theme music to South Pacific. And our assisted living residents got a chance to enjoy that. It was wonderful. So we've got some great activities going on in assisted living. You know, I highly urge you, if it's something you want to participate in, please, we are one community. So like our assisted living residents come and participate in the activities that are hosted by independent living, vice versa. You know, just let them know so that there is room and space. And if you want to volunteer, we have a wonderful volunteer corps who supports our assisted living. So if this is something you want to help, they always need help with different things. You have an opportunity to support the activities in that way. So as you can see, we've got a range of events. We've got some bright spots. Seems like the holidays were a very long time ago, but they were not. So we just want to share that we had wonderful just time for fellowship here in Anderson Hall, down on the B1 level and up in assisted living. We had a pasta dinner, you know, with tablecloths, kind of the full offering for every single shift at Horizon House. So we just wanted to share some photos from the holiday meal. It's a really nice way of ending the year and saying thank you. But before we adjourn, I want to, by a show of hands, how many people know the Horizon House mission, vision, and values? Oh, okay. So when I was talking about, you know, us getting back, you know, to our core, our roots and all those things, I want to, just as you leave, I want to show you what our current mission, vision, and value statements are, because this is what we are really working toward and living to. So I want to make sure that you know what those are. So I'm going to pause there. I'm not going to read them to you, but I just want you to see, this is what we do. Part of being a nonprofit, this is our reason. This is, well, you are our reason, but this is what we are supposed to be working toward. And our values, I don't see, I'll make sure that we get this posted in the alert if it's not, because we really are going to be living our values, and we have, you know, just phenomenal values. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that it's on the website if you want to take a look. And so if you see any of our team members or residents living our values, you know, send us an email. Let us know. I know we have some little cards that we can fill out, because we want to make sure that we're actually, you know, doing what we're supposed to be doing. All right. Thank you all, and enjoy your weekend.